So we know that home brewing is a great hobby to have, but there's another hobby that is even more interesting that was heretofore unknown to me. Jim, your hobby is you go to these competitions and you're a judge.
Right. I also brew, but a number of years ago I got into competitions as an entrant.
Right.
And then was invited to judge at a as someone who wasn't credentialed, just to kind of get into it, and enjoyed it, and so I got credentialed for it.
So I got to ask about the credentials, because I think everyone assumes, I mean, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, like, oh, you go around the country and you judge delicious beer, like, how do I get that job? How do I get that job? How hoops did you jump through to get to where you're at?
There's a great organization, it's called the Beer Judge Certification Program, so BJCP is what we call it. It is all volunteer, not for profit, and it both educates and credentials judges. It also certifies competitions and works kind of hand in hand with the American Homebrewers Association. But the BJCP is where you get whatever your rank is, and it offers exams. There are 3 exams. There's an entrance exam to kind of weed out folks who may not be that serious about it.
Right.
And once you pass that, you can take the core exam, which is the tasting exam. It's terrifically fair. 6 beers presented to you. All you're told is what the style is. You have a score sheet just like you have at a competition. You fill it out. While the entrants are doing that, or the examinees, there are 3 proctors. So experienced senior judges over here doing exactly the same thing. They have no more information than the examinee. Those score sheets go off to some graders. The graders compare and contrast and give you a score.
When you started home brewing, how long ago was that?
Oh, a long time. I've lost track.
Yeah.
20 some years maybe.
And then you've been judging at, maybe not at this level, but when you said you started judging,
yeah,
was...
I've probably getting up to a dozen, well, more than a dozen, 15 years maybe.
And one of the reasons people like inviting you to these things is the notes that you give on the beers that you are sampling.
We try to give full feedback. Entrance, there's the score, and everyone wants to win and get a medal.
Right.
But there's also the feedback, and the great benefit is it's anonymous. Like, I brew a beer, I give it to my friends, they give me feedback, but they know me. They're going to be, they're going to pull punches. There's something about having anonymous, that the entrants know who I am.
Right.
They'll get a score sheet. My name's on it.
Right.
My email address is on it if they want to reach out to me, but I have no idea who they are. And so it's anonymous, and it's
Does it happen
there's
where
more
they reach
legitimacy.
out and say, hey, thanks for the input here, or you don't know what you were talking about? Or...
I've had no instances where I can think of where someone has called me to kind of, harass me.
Right, good.
And
I wouldn't expect that, knowing what I know about homebrewers.
It's just beer.
But people are weird.
It's just beer, right?
Yeah.
But I do have, not regularly, but occasionally someone will email me to say, I don't understand this comment.
Right.
Help me. And usually, I don't remember it.
Right.
There's been other beers since then.
Yeah, I haven't spent the rest of my life thinking about your beer, Mac. Like, life goes on.
Right. So I say, so what I do is say, send me a copy of your score sheet. I'll do my best to interpret it for you. And yeah.
So this is what I think is the hardest part, and maybe there's harder parts. I'm just thinking about my experience not as a judge, but as someone who goes to like a beer festival, right? And I'm sampling a bunch of different beers. I mean, at some point, doesn't your palate just kind of go blind?
It can be tough. You have to be careful. We do rank or order the beers as they come out. So if you're in the easiest example is there's a whole category called spice herb vegetable. It's kind of where homebrewers live. It's this kind of, let's do something weird.
Right.
Let's kind of make something interesting. And so it's like take a base style, say a Pilsner, and add jalapenos or add something else to it.
Right.
Well, we'll look at that because that could blow out your palate for sure.
Right.
We'll look at that before the flight and ask them to bring them out in an order, basically putting the palate blowers at the end.
Okay. So that's why at this point in the afternoon you're doing heavier stuff.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right.
So how in the world do you determine, when you have all of those beers that have been viewed as the best in their style, how do you pick
Sure.
one?
Sure. They're all excellent.
Right.
They all won gold medals.
Right.
You look at them, first you look at them compared to the style. So the BJCP, one of its major pieces of work that it engages in is putting out a style guideline. So it's a written document that talks in detail about every beer style. And you kind of compare and contrast the beer in front of you, the gold medal winning beer in front of you, with what it should be according to the guidelines.
Okay.
So it can be an excellent beer. You might really enjoy it, but if it misses the guideline a little bit, maybe it's not the best of show.
So it's possible you could have a beer and you could think, this beer in this style is the best I've ever had. However, it's not exactly what it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
So that would be, I mean, talk about a nitpick, right?
It's a nitpick,
so
for
it's
sure.
not your favorite, it's the best.
That's right.
You're not saying it's your favorite beer.
Right.
Have you had a favorite beer so far, or can you tell us that?
Today,
Yeah. What's been the winner so far? It's early. I mean,
I
we still gotta figure out.
had a Belgian triple.
Okay.
So a strong Belgian, pale, bitter, spicy. It was delicious.
Excellent, excellent. Well, keep up the good work. I know you got to go. I was going to say, usually with judges, you say I don't envy the task at hand, but let's be honest, Jim. I do kind of envy the task.
This is great fun. This is great fun.
Well, you're just the man for the job. Keep up the good work.
Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Okay.
Have you ever submitted a beer to this?
Oh yeah,
I mean, like
I have half a dozen beers in there.
Right now, you've got to have it. What, if you don't mind me asking, what's the best showing you've ever had? What's the highest you've placed?
I've got gold medals. I have never had best of show, but
But they don't know that you're the president. Everything's all blind when they taste it, right? And alt means old. That's all that means.
Yeah, it's an ale that's been lagered a little bit longer. So
Alt is the German word for old. When you hear
Yeah.
alt, you might think, what is
Yeah.
it? Like, what's different about it? It's just old.
Yep.